All right, good evening and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Business. Whether you are listening to PHLV app or Spotify, watching in Facebook or YouTube, thank you very much for tuning into our show. Thank you again to Anna Ladao, our guest last week, who gave us a great insight on building community relationships. So October is Filipino History Month. One of the things that Filipinos always have or centered in when we get together is food. So we talk about family, good times, resolve issues, and of course we talk about business around food. So to honor this, we will have Restaurant Month for October. So of course we have a great guest tonight for that. But let's start with this. So what is a restaurant business? A restaurant is a business that prepares and serves food and drinks to customers. Meals are generally served and eaten in the premises, but many restaurants also offer takeout and food delivery services. They fall under food and drink category within the hospitality industry. There are several types of restaurants, so if you're looking to open one, get familiar with them and kind of choose which one you want to be in it. Get familiar with its type, its operation. These categories are usually based on your menu, preparation method, pricing, seating options, and means by which food is served to the customer. Here are some common ones. Fine dining, upscale meal experience, usually comprised of several courses, stylish and elegant atmosphere. And then you've got casual dining, served at their table, moderately priced, atmosphere is low-key, decor is unique or based usually on the food that's served. There's the fast casual. Customer wants fast service, healthier than fast food. Family style. They offer large dishes for sharing, very common for Chinese restaurants, right? Then you've got fast food, really convenient ones. Somewhere you can drive through and pick up something to eat, something you can bring back to your work pretty fast, and it's really geared for convenience. There's a cafe. Usually they serve coffee, tea, pastries. It has an unhurried atmosphere. Sometimes they've got outdoor seating. And then another common one is buffet type. Very common here in Las Vegas. All the casinos have one, right? Now, there are more, of course, but these are just the most common ones. There's like food trucks, for example. All you can eat Asian restaurants, which is so common here in Vegas, not common in other places. There's like teppanyaki grills, another one. So there you go. Those are different types of restaurants. Now, what do you do if you do have an idea of how building a restaurant? Here are the steps to start a restaurant. First, choose a restaurant concept or brand. What type? What food will you serve? What kind of atmosphere do you like? Create your menu. Probably very, very hard one to do. It's probably a lot of work that's going to be in this. What do you want to serve? Consider your demographic. What type of customers are you trying to shoot for? Do you have the proper personnel to make the food? You have the right chef, right? All that stuff. Write a restaurant business plan. Yes, even restaurants need business plans. It serves as a guide, again, and of course, if you're going to need to obtain funding, which is our next one, definitely having a business plan is always a plus. Plus, not only that, a business plan is always a good idea to have. It really gives you a lot of insight, it forces you to do a lot of research into the industry that you're going into. The next is obtain funding. You can either do it through SBA or startup loans or through investors. Next, choose a location and lease a space. Again, demographics. What are you trying to achieve? Labor cost, visibility and accessibility, competition. Now, for example, here, nationwide, restaurants, they say, is one of the toughest industries to get into. It's very competitive. But for some reason here in Las Vegas, restaurants have great longevity. I've known restaurants here that's been here for over 25, 20 years. Chinatown is a great example of choose a location and space. Chinatown is the third most visited place in Vegas from a research that I read. And a lot of California tourists, for example, drive here and What do they go to in Chinatown? Restaurants. And after that, you do permits and licenses. Okay, you have to have the right permits, especially if you're a food truck. There's so many different things that you have to have for that. If you are a catering versus an actual restaurant, you need to make sure that you have the proper permit, right? Next would be design your layout and your space. So you want to see how it looks like. What's the capacity of your restaurant, the decor, the ease of operation, right? You want to make sure that your servers can move around easily without inconveniencing the client or vice versa. Find equipment and food suppliers. Hire the right staff. Your staff needs to fit your demographic and, of course, your culture. Determine the correct number of staff, especially in the beginning. Then you market your restaurant. You need to understand Yelp. I mean, that's probably the number one thing that people use now to find restaurants. Yelp, they read the reviews. Social media, your website. Find creative ideas. For example, we have a restaurant in town that started out as a food truck. They went in different areas. They built a following, and then they finally opened their brick and mortar shop. And lastly, host a soft opening. Let's take a look and see how it's received, right? And then, again, you're building your base. So there you go. Those are just the quick steps on starting a restaurant. What is a restaurant idea? Now let's take our quick break, and when we get back, we're going to bring in our special guest for tonight, one of our favorite restaurants here in town. So let's be back.
Just like a friend from back home.
This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.
PHLV Radio.
Welcome back for our very first guest for the month. Please welcome the owner of Truffles N Bacon, Magnolia Magat. Good evening, Magnolia. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you again for joining the show.
I'm so proud to be here.
I've always said one of my favorite restaurants. It's so awesome, especially Ubi French toast. That's my favorite. All right, please.
I should have it in the background.
Yeah, that'll be good. So people can see it exactly. And don't forget, you got to have that bacon spread.
Yes.
Anyway, please tell us about Truffles and Bacon. So what do you serve? What type of restaurant? And how long you've been in business?
All right, so Truffles N Bacon Cafe is an American comfort food with a twist. We could have a cafe, but it's really a restaurant. But because we're not too upscale, but we're also not like low end.
Yeah.
We've been in business for 8 years now, and we do amazing food that highlights a little bit of our Filipino culture.
I love it. I love how you incorporated really the Filipino culture into mainstream, which is really great. I mean, bacon spread. Who thinks about that? It's awesome. So, what inspired you to start Truffles and Bacon?
Well, back in 2001, during 9/11, Jackie, who's the other owner of the cafe, she's the chef. She lost her job because she was working for it wasn't Wall Street, but her clientele was Wall Street.
Okay.
So she lost her job.
Gotcha.
And we were thinking about opening a restaurant. There was a restaurant that we eyed. We looked at it. It was a right size, 30 seats. It had everything in it. But I asked Jackie to look at the place for 2 weeks straight, morning, noon, nighttime.
Sure. Yeah, good
I
idea.
asked like a market survey if we were going to invest money in that. I'm like, after that, we're like, oh no, we can't because there's no foot traffic. 9/11 just happened, so business is dead. And rather than continue pursuing that dream, we put it on the shelf. we both got employed. But in the meantime, we never lost sight of what we originally planned to have. So we started working on our menu. So every restaurant that we went to, we would write what we want. So we were already developing our concept.
Wow.
We went to SBA has a program for women and minority women, in fact, and
Mhm.
we joined that. It was for business planning, and step by step, we were trying to see how we were going to incorporate having a restaurant into our lives, but just a stroke of luck, it wasn't happening because one, New York is too expensive,
Yeah.
and but it never stopped us from there. We continued, we pursued, we went into catering, so private catering. We developed clients who were a little bit on the high scale
Mhm.
because I worked for an upscale salon, and the clientele were the Upper East Siders. So a lot of New York socialites, some politicians, um, designers, and so we got to be involved with this kind of group. And my old boss, he gave us a little space in the old salon where I used to work at. Shout out to Polybrec Salon.
All right.
I was managing the place, but they have a little coffee bar right in front, and they want to serve food. So they would have different people serving food over there. So that's where we started. We would
Nice.
bring in sandwiches. I'll bring them from the house,
Mhm.
but we'll do some light prep in the small little coffee bar area of Paula Breck.
Yeah.
And um, a few years later, my son, who's been wanting me to move to Vegas, said that they were gonna have their first child. So me being an excited grandma, so I said, I think that was the push that made us think. Wait, we've never really considered Vegas to be our venue,
Uh-huh.
but he kept dripping over the years that he's lived here. My eldest son kept saying, you should try and move here. It's too inexpensive. The rents and the houses here are very cheap. There's no restaurant in the caliber that you would want to open. A lot of them are fast foods. So you have a niche market because you have good food.
Yeah.
But it's drip, drip, drip. But it's the push was having a first grandchild. So I told Jackie, I said, I'll move and let's see what
Yeah.
happens. And he had the baby. We didn't have a spot yet. We weren't we were really sure that we were gonna go through with it.
Uh-huh.
But stroke of luck, I happened to be inside an antique market with my cousin who was visiting from San Diego, and I saw a sign that said "cafe for lease, turnkey."
Uh-huh.
So like it's all beautiful coming into place, right? Um, but the place was still closed. Um, but I peeped inside, um, and then years ago when we were starting to build our restaurant in our mind, we had a vision of what it would be.
There you
30
go.
seats, hardwood floors,
Uh-huh.
place with character. And that's why Vegas was never in our idea
Uh-huh.
because what, at that time we thought, no, there's no character in Vegas. Where would you find, that would fit this lifestyle?
Sure.
And so, but when I went into the antique store and I saw that, I'm like, wait, 30 seats, it's turnkey, and it's a short-term lease. I said, I think I found a place, and then it had our hardwood floors too.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
character can you get right when you're inside an antique
It's
market?
a sign.
So I told Jackie, I said, I think I found our restaurant, and I got so excited. It's like, is it true? Our dream of opening a restaurant, is it really happening? So, like you said, you do a research.
Yeah.
What do you do now? So we spoke with the owner, and then Jackie flew in. We had to sort of like not just interview, but we had to audition to be in that spot.
Wow. Okay.
So we auditioned. because he wanted to see what we were bringing
Okay.
is something that he wants to offer his people. So we did that little audition, and then we got accepted. So I worked on getting our permits and stuff like that. So in February 2014, we opened the first original Truffles and Bacon.
That is an awesome story. My three takeaways. Number one, I am so glad you never let go of your dream. Your dreams, yours and Jackie's. So, and that's amazing. I mean, really, because circumstance, especially after 9/11, you're like, okay, and especially you're already working. It's easy to say, forget it, right? No, I'm glad that you
Right,
held
right.
on. Second, you used SBA. I like that, especially the
Yeah.
minority program that they have. We should really use, we should really make use of that resource more.
Right. It's free. So I don't understand why people won't avail of it.
Yeah, well, I think Magnolia, a lot of it, people just don't know what it is, or what the program
Right.
is. Yeah, so I'm really glad that you guys did your due diligence in really researching that. And then, of course, third is that your menu. I love your story about writing down things that you want to put in your own menu. That's fantastic. Actually, that leads to my next question. Menu is so important
Yeah.
in restaurant success. How did you decide what type of food and how it will be served? How did you come
Well,
up with
first
that
of all,
twist? Yeah.
it's what we want to eat, right? So
Yeah.
if we don't want to eat it, we're not gonna serve it.
I like that.
Um,
Okay.
but over here, it was a little bit of a challenge because, like I said initially, people are so used to fast food.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, because we cook everything from scratch, so people don't understand that we're not foods. We might be in a place that's small, and you know, and you have to kind of educate your clients.
Uh-huh.
Yes, there is such a thing as cooking food. It's not, and then they all say, "Oh, just warm it up in the microwave." We don't have a microwave, so
Nice.
we it's really made from scratch. So if there's a little bit of weight, it's because how real cooking is. It takes time.
Nice.
So we developed our menu based on what we've heard from the feedback of our clients.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have a test. Like, so when we started, we have a small menu. We initially wanted to have just sandwiches and burgers,
Mm-hmm.
but it evolved from what our clients have requested. When we first, so the antique market, we were only there for a year,
Okay.
and then we built the one where we're at right now, and which we've been here for 7 years. So
Gotcha.
over here, there's more flexibility. Our hours we can dictate. The menu that we can offer is a lot more.
Yes.
We've seen that there was, and this was a happy coincidence because some people would throw in, oh, we want some breakfast items.
Yeah.
So just per chance, we put it on the menu, a few items, maybe 2 or 3 items. That's a little bit breakfast inspired,
Yeah.
but not knowing that it would actually dictate the future of our restaurant. And when we put up that menu, like I said, 2 menu items for breakfast, suddenly people were coming in more for breakfast than the lunch items.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
so we're like, yeah, so you just have to keep evolving.
Yeah.
And Truffles and bacon is American comfort food with a twist. And the Filipino twist is by bringing in ingredients from the
The
Philippines
Philippines. Yeah.
that we grew up knowing. We wanted to share with initially with our staff because not we didn't have a big Filipino staff.
Mm-hmm.
So we would tell them, ube is something that's common to the
Sure.
Philippines. Every Filipino that is a dessert item. So one time we saw ube bread in a store.
Yeah.
Jackie and I looked at each other and we said, "Oh, let's try using this as a French toast to serve our staff." And then one of the big social media accounts came in, who's a personal friend of ours. She came in, we had her taste it, and then she took a picture of it. And then the rest is history because right after she took a picture of it, our employee meal became one of our most
Popular.
popular secret menu for the longest time. It was secret menu
It
because
happened to be my
we
favorite.
were not even offering it on the menu.
So you've answered how long you've been in the restaurant business, but tell me, how was the experience in starting it out? When you mentioned it
Oh,
earlier, is this really happening? How did you guys feel when it's like, oh my God, it's coming together?
it's like honeymoon
Uh huh.
and marriage, right? So first it was honeymoon stage. You're so excited, you're giddy, it's all happening. And then the honeymoon is over, you fall back into reality,
Uh
and
huh.
then you're like, wait, have self-doubt, are you gonna make it? Because in the antique market when we were there, the foot traffic that we were expecting wasn't there, and that's why we looked for another place.
I see.
And then when we opened our restaurant, we didn't fund it from outside source, we
Yeah.
fund it from our own savings. So now you're like, oh my God, am I gonna be able to recuperate whatever we put up? Our entire life savings. This
Yeah.
is my 401k and it's 401k.
Yeah.
And we don't make it, we didn't have a plan B.
Yo,
Because, I
wow.
mean, it wasn't because we were cocky. We didn't plan on not succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
We knew we were going to succeed. We just didn't know how long before we can reap the benefits of our efforts.
Sure.
So it was a little scary.
Yeah.
When, when a day comes and goes, you have overhead, everything like that, and then you only have 4 or 5 people who's come into your place. You're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
am I a loser?
Yeah.
But
The
you
doubt
just
comes
stick
in,
it
right?
out. And I know, but you're like, no, you just like have to give it time.
Yeah.
And then, luckily for us, we're a little bit social media savvy, and thank God for social media because all the other forms of advertising
Yeah.
that we grew up knowing, all the marketing techniques that we grew up knowing, isn't what it is now. It's not as
Yes.
effective. So even if we tried everything, but with social media we've had more success because right now everybody's on their phone. Our
Mm-hmm.
food is very visual,
Yeah.
so eat first with your eyes,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. So you capture your audience by showing them something close enough that they would lick their phones.
Good. You know what? I love what you just said about that because I've been preaching here that social media is a great way to do it now. Believe it or not, there's still some restaurant owners that don't understand the power of Yelp, the power of Yelp or
Right.
social media.
It's amazing because I told Jack, I said I think we wouldn't have gotten to where we are if it's not for the power of social
Social
media.
media.
So
Yeah.
we've been invited um, to be guests in different mainstream networks. So
Nice.
we've been on Food Net, we've been on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and it's we're proud because we're not just representing our restaurant, but we're also representing minority women,
Yeah.
Asian, Filipino,
Love it. Yeah.
and that's why we pay tribute to our being Filipinos by showcasing and interjecting more Filipino items into our menu.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna change gears a little bit. Tell me, what are some of the challenges that restaurants face right now? I mean, especially with this rising cost.
Well, aside from the pricing, it's also the manpower.
Mm,
It's been from day one. I think that's been our issue. It's not difficult to get servers,
mm-hmm.
but it's harder to get people for the back of the house because that's where the real work is.
Gotcha.
And but so what we've done for our cafe is we hire dishwashers.
Uh
We
huh.
always hire dishwashers. Everybody starts as a dishwasher because knowing a restaurant isn't the end all and be all. Like nobody sets out their life to just work in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
We're always going to be the starting point for anyone who's trying to get a job.
Sure. Sure.
uh,
Yeah.
and and that's why one of the mission statements that we have for our cafe is that we want to be the your first great job. So we want to be that stepping stone, but it's your great stepping.
That's good.
It's hard to come by right now because the era of our generation,
Hmm.
like yours and mine's,
Yeah.
it's slowly diminishing, and that's why manpower nowadays is hard to find.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do the work. They all want to get paid by not doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we want people to we want to show people that if you invest your time and your energy, that the what you get out of the experience from working,
Hmm.
the lowest the lowest jobs is more rewarding
Yeah.
than just taking over something.
I agree. My first job was with Mrs. Fields Cookies. I used to wash all of those big trays. All right. Now that Truffles and Bacon has become such a big hit, what's next? Come on. Do we have an expansion in the horizon?
Um, uh, Expansion is something that I alludes us.
Okay.
We tried to. It hasn't happened yet, but we're not in a hurry. Just like we weren't in a hurry to open our restaurant, right?
Yes.
But still, in all, we're almost 8 years in this location.
Hmm.
So what we're planning to do is next year we're going to upgrade the location. We're in the process right now of getting our patio redone.
Okay.
Another slow process, but it's in the works.
Good.
Um, just so that we can accommodate more people to
Yeah.
sit, and
Yeah.
especially now the weather's kind of getting better. So by the time that the weather's nicer, you can enjoy our beautiful patio when it's finished.
That sounds good to me.
Next year we're gonna have a yeah. Next year we're going to have a major renovation of the cafe. We're still working on the designs, but uh, there's some projects in the works. I just don't want to jinx ourselves,
All right.
right?
That sounds good. Well, definitely come back, of course, and tell me about that. All right.
Yeah.
What is your best advice to young entrepreneurs who are looking to open or get into the restaurant business?
Best advice, like what you said earlier, study your market, and then do your business plan. We can't just claim that we're good in the kitchen. You have to know your numbers. Without your
Yeah.
numbers, it's not going to work. You're not going to succeed because you might have a lot of different notions about what food preparation is, but being in a real restaurant is different. It's different from cooking in your house.
No, that's great advice,
But know your
especially the business plan.
know your
Yeah. All
oh
right.
yeah.
Final word. Tell us about where's Truffles and Bacon? Any kind of specials going on?
So every day there's gonna be something special with us, and this has been a long request of our clients for the longest time. So Jackie always says that we will rice when we want to.
Uh-huh.
Rice meaning RICE,
Okay.
not RIS. So we don't serve rice, but a lot of our items are Filipinos would want to have rice. So
Hmm.
we will rice on Thursdays.
Ah, nice.
Our
All
event.
right.
Rice Thursdays.
I'll definitely be there to try that.
It's also gonna be like a different rice menu for
Okay.
the Thursdays. So
Rice
we're always
Thursdays.
changing. Yeah, we're always changing our menu. So there's always something that you're gonna be looking forward to.
Nice. Awesome. Well, there you go. Thank you again so much for coming in. That is our show for tonight. Magnolia, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you coming on, and I just love your food.
Thank you, and we'll see you Rice Thursdays.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Take
All
care.
right.
That's our show for
Thank
tonight.
you.
Okay. Bye bye.